Hello and welcome back to Tales from the Age of Men. And indeed, we have returned to our siege here, which we were attempting to capture in the previous episode. Now, obviously, here's the thing. We have a bit of a problem. Yeah, they got their food back. Yeah, in the small interim that I had to restore myself, we had apparently some food supplies crept in. I don't actually know how that even occurred, but apparently that did. And, well, we're going to have to fight the garrison again. So we're going to have to see how we do here. They've also restored themselves quite dramatically too. So it's not just me, you know, it's them too. And this is going to be slightly problematic. But at least we have, a sizable combat advantage at the moment. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put them into a square formation once we always do, you know, because we want to try to make sure that they are as defensive as possible going in here. And I'm going to try to avoid getting shot in the head, hopefully. Because that's not the way to go. That is certainly not the way to go. Oh, this is the way to go, though. Oh, yeah, there we go, there we go. That's what we like to see. Alright, absolutely perfect. The more athletic skill that we gain, by the way, the more HP we get. And that's fundamentally also going to make a huge, huge difference to our survivability. It's actually staggering how much raw HP actually does for your defensiveness. Because you're going to be able to survive so many more hits, even when you're playing on maximum modifier like I am right now. Even if I get shot in the face right now for like, what, 90, even 100 damage, that doesn't matter. That's actually, I'm still going to survive that. I'm going to survive that, which is actually really, really good and very rare, obviously, because unless you are indeed, you know, having a, well, let's just say, let's say that you have a really, really good helmet, right? You have a really good helmet, your protection is crazy good. Let's say you have a helmet that has like 80 or 90 protection. Obviously, you're going to need to play a mod for that because, as far as I'm aware, in the base game, you're not going to have a helmet that gives you that much protection. But maybe in a mod you would. Anyway, the point is, if you have that and you're hit in the face and you get hit for, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 damage, well, that's fine. You know, that's all very well and good. And obviously protection is important. However, when it comes to actual raw value and being able to live through things despite having, shall we say, somewhat mediocre armor. Like, for example, my helmet right now is not very good. My helmet is not very good at all. Whereas the raw value of my HP right now, thanks to our athletic skill, is actually really, really good. Because, you know, as I say, if I do get shot in the face, you know what it's going to do. I mean, yeah, sure, I might die. I might die, because it might do more than what I have. You know, my maximum HP might not be enough. But it is providing us with the greatest possible chance to achieve something. It doesn't matter really whether we actually survive there or not really, but the fact is it gives us that opportunity, that chance, that potential. And I think that really makes a huge difference. I am actually drawing my people back right now because this is exactly the reason why we had to retreat in the previous episode, because we are in a situation where, oh dear, this is so bad actually. This is really, really bad. I'm going to actually have to go here. Yeah, this is probably one of the, you know what? I was going to say to put my forces over there because I was hoping that we could maybe draw the opponent into there, but they're just going to close the door on us, you know. That's the funny thing, they're just going to close the door. I'm going to have to do a little bit of headshotting here, which I don't particularly, I mean, I'm happy to do it because I actually like using my bow. Funnily enough, I now like using my bow a little bit more because obviously my skill has increased quite a lot. But the fact is, I'm still not a big fan, okay? I'm still not a big fan, specifically because right now I could be doing so much more damage, unfortunately, because the opponent is being rather stubborn about what they're doing here. I'm going to tell my forces to charge in again. Did I actually already do that? I'm not entirely sure. I thought I was keeping them in a formation there, but it doesn't really matter. As long as we can get the enemy forces to be eliminated. That is all we need. For some reason, they decided to abandon their posts. A little bit weird. I suppose they're doing that for a reason. I don't really know why, but I guess they thought that they were going to lose, and indeed, yes, they apparently are. They are definitely going to lose. They had 24 people retreat from the situation as well, which obviously is fine. We don't really need to worry about that too much. As you can see, we can now go straight on in here. Just send our palace guards to finish the job. And this is obviously a town, so this is perfect, because what we can now do is we can technically take all of these guys prisoner, and then we can literally just sell them in the tavern straight away, which is very nice. Obviously, and this is going to be a thing for anyone that wants to min-max, or anyone that wants to get the maximum value out of every single situation. Ideally, what you want to do is with your personal character, not with a companion or anything like that, but with your personal character, you would like to go for focus points in roguery. If you want to try to maximize every single moment that you have, generally, I personally would agree that roguery is one of the best perk trees in the entire game, and I'm not even talking about the actual perks themselves. The actual perks themselves are obviously fine. There are certain things like smuggler connections, which are insanely broken and very, very overpowered, but roguery skill itself is amazing. And just because I haven't gone for it here doesn't mean that it's bad or anything like that. I'm just not going for it personally at this point in time. Okay, so this guy unfortunately has smithing skill. I don't really want a smithing skill, unfortunately. It's kind of a bit weird. Yeah, I mean, I'd like someone that has steward and engineering skill, if anything. You know, that would be fantastic. But yeah, anyway, we're just gonna see what we can do here. Just gonna buy a huge amount of food, actually. Yeah, someone actually in the comments had a really, really good idea that I personally didn't think of, and I thought, wow, that is... I don't know. That's the great thing about this game. Sometimes when you're kind of thinking a little bit too dimensionally, like I am most of the time, haha. Yeah, you kind of like, oh yeah, that's true. I could have done that. And basically, the comment said, "Well, you could buy sheep and then slaughter them, and then you'd have meat, and you could sell the hides as well potentially," which actually is insanely good. That is an extremely good idea. Obviously, this is only if you don't have any food or, raw food I'm talking about right here, so actual food, so you could just literally buy the sheep or the cows or whatever, and then you could just slaughter them, and then you could obviously do something with that, which I think that is an extremely good idea. So yeah, thank you for that. I'll try to remember that in future, actually, because that is... yeah, that's going to be something that I'll no doubt need. I will probably need it. What do you think? I think I'll probably need it at least. Anyway, we can now just wait here for a little bit of time, and we've thankfully taken Mistrand. I'm going to assume that Thranduil is going to probably talk to us in a second. I'm actually really surprised that my... I'm very surprised that my garrisons are taking more money than the actual fiefs provide. I think that is hilarious and very sad, to be honest. Yeah, so as you can see, these things have not been taken back or anything like that. I would have to take these fortresses off screen, I think. It's going to be way too much time investment, in my opinion. Okay, oh no, I didn't want to, okay, there we go. Whew. Okay, that was a little bit close for a second there. I almost declined to take ownership of this thing. Funnily enough, I'm actually not entirely sure if it's a good idea for me to even take ownership of this stuff anymore, because we are actually having a bit of a problem in regards to the garrison and party expenses. I'm actually not entirely sure why that's happening, by the way, because the garrison in these places is not actually that much. I mean, look at this. Okay, look. We have Tarnuk Bastion, which has 117 defenders, right? And then we have, well, obviously our main town has 299. That might be a little bit, maybe that's a bit too much. Is that a bit too much? I'm not entirely sure. Because the funny thing is, I don't think we can actually see a financial screen or anything like that. I don't think we can see any kind of analysis of what we're currently losing. I don't think there is actually anything in the game that allows us to do that. I mean, I guess this is our finance screen, which, no offense, I personally don't think that this is detailed enough, really, for what I really need it to do. I really need to... here we go. This is a little bit better. I see. Now, what I'd love to see on this particular little screen right here, this little section of the screen, I would just like to see how much we're currently spending on garrisons, and how much we're spending on caravans, and how much we're spending on our own personal army, and so on. I feel like that would make a huge difference to just quality of life, because you could see it at a glance then. You wouldn't have to come to this screen, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Anyway, as you can see right here, so yes, this garrison is literally 3,100, and this garrison is 100. Actually, not 100, 1,100. So technically we can now say what we want the wages to be. So if we want there to be a wage limit of 500 or so, then we can obviously do that. And if we want the wage limit to be, I don't know, let's put the wage limit at like 1,000 or something like that for that one. Because frankly, I feel like we are spending way too much cash on garrisons, when the garrisons themselves, they may be making a big difference, but are they actually doing anything right now? And I'm gonna say no. I don't think so. I don't think they're actually doing anything right now, because our forces are so far away, or shall we say, our friendly territories are so far away that these people are just basically not doing anything. You know, they are literally just they just can't travel that far with an army. And if they do travel that far with an army, then they're going to be very, very weakened by the time they get there. Anyway, I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to make our way over here. The food stock is looking very, very good in this area, unfortunately, so we might have a problem with this. Oh yeah, I've also been granted ownership of this particular town, so I will need to do a little bit of something here. Okay, so let's just put that in there. We're going to just go for loyalty as it is. We're just going to go for loyalty. We're just going to try to pump that up as best as we can. Festival and games, just going to slap that on real quick, and then just allow this to do its thing. See, now this is also the reason why, for me personally, I feel like a really nice thing would be to have a... I'm gonna say something maybe a little bit controversial. So... I personally believe that there should be some form of government structure that you can institute, either as a vassal or as a leader. I think that as a vassal, you could probably institute a more minor version of, shall we say, a government sector. And I'm talking about governing as in actually governing, right? Not just being corrupt and taking your money for free taxes. Haha. No, what I'm talking about is literally being able to assign a variety of companions to governing over your towns, and generally having a way to direct progress, if you know what I'm talking about. So in other words, what I'm saying is have a selection of 3 companions that you can recruit, right? So you just recruit random companions, whichever ones you want, obviously. Then you put them on this, shall we say, council, right? You put them in a council, and then those 3 have the ability to increase progression of every single building project that you have in all of your fiefs. So in other words, you wouldn't have to go to this manage town screen. You wouldn't assign a governor to the one town. You would have a council that would be issuing orders to the builders in the town itself. So you'd have a, shall we say, decentralized command structure, and it would be a little bit more efficient in that sense, because then you wouldn't have to find a companion for every single fief you have, if you want it to be more efficient. I don't know about you, but I feel like that would be an extremely cool system. I think that would be super, super fun, but obviously that is just my idea. And it's probably not something that the general population would appreciate. I don't know, they probably wouldn't like that. I don't know, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. Anyway, we're going to be going in here against these guys. This is going to be kind of a pinnacle situation here, kind of like one of those things where it's either we do really, really well and everything goes absolutely fantastically, or this is going to be a disaster and everyone is going to die. Yes, hopefully that's not going to be the case. So let's have a look here. Okay, so we're actually in a village, very, very strangely. Oh yeah, it's because he's actually raiding the village, I guess. So that's the reason why he is. Now, funnily enough, this is really bad for him, Yeah, this is extremely, extremely bad for him. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do our classic newly learned pincer movement. Yeah, I mean, I used to do a lot of pincer movements back in the day, but not really like this. Never really used two forms of infantry to do that. Usually just used cavalry, I guess. So, yeah, anyway, we're just going to get these guys up here. And I think we're probably going to put all of the people in square formation. I think we'll put all of them in square for the moment, just because a lot of cavalry are going to be coming in, and I want them to be able to be as defensive as possible. So if they do get attacked from behind or something like that, they'll be able to defend themselves appropriately, hopefully. Okay, so we're just going to get these guys to come in over here, and these fellows can come in through the side. We're going to have to attack some of these fellows while we can. Hello there. Oh, they've got a bunch of mercenaries. Okay, this is kind of interesting. All right. Okay, so these fellows are... I should probably tell my horsemen to charge in. These fellows need to go over there, and we should get these guys over here. And let's try not to... Whoa, my horse just literally almost died. Okay, that's kind of harsh. Okay, so how are my forces doing? Let's tell these guys... Should we tell them to charge in? Or should we just tell them to go over here? No, I think we'll tell them to go over here, and these guys can come in from the side like so. I think that sounds like a pretty decent idea. Okay, I guess we'll tell them to charge now? I don't know. I mean, right now I kind of need to get a move on, because otherwise we're just going to get murdered. Oh, no. This is bad. This is bad news. Bad news bears right here. Yeah, this is actually really, really bad. Because the amount of cavalry these opponents have is actually staggering. I can only hope that our spearmen are going to do a fantastic job. I mean, pretty much we need them to. That is what it comes down to at this point. I'm actually kind of overwhelmed by how much stuff is currently going on. Like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to do here? You know what I mean? Do I focus on the archers? Do I focus on the cavalry? I feel like focusing on the cavalry is probably the best idea, because now I'm in a bad situation, because now I can probably be murdered very, very easily. I'm trying to get into melee range with a bunch of these guys, because if I can, then I'm going to be able to at least distract them, interrupt them, whatever, you know, intimidate them. I don't know. That's probably not going to work unless my terror perk starts paying off, which might very well be the case sometime soon. But we seemingly are doing a pretty nice job here. How am I think my cavalry are actually charging. Yes, they are. Okay, so that's fine. Let's kill that guy. That guy's mine. This fellow is not. He's running away. That's okay. We don't need to worry about that. Oh, hello there. Yes, he tried to murder me. That's not very nice of him, but, you know, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Okay, I think we're actually good. Yeah, I think we are extremely good, surprisingly enough. And, yeah, you know what I really cannot wait for? Getting 7 intelligence. Yeah, I know. 7 intelligence, yeah. As soon as we get 7 intelligence, it is going to be possible for us to get medicine skill 275. And once we get to 275, you have no idea. I mean, obviously you do, because you know what the medicine skill perk does, don't you? Yes, it increases our HP, or should we say, it increases our troops' HP, and that is just amazing. It's basically the same thing that you get with athletics, but it applies to every single person in your army, which I think is incredibly fun. One thing I would love to see actually about that particular skill as well is, I'm not entirely sure, but from my perspective, I feel like it would probably be a better idea to increase HP by a percentage rather than a base value. Because if you take a look at some of the, like for example, this is just for modding future-proofing, basically. So basically, pretty much what I mean by that is a percentage increase of HP is going to be better in the long run in comparison to base value. Because if you do get base value, right, and let's just say that you have a mod that you're playing, I don't know, let me just think of a mod really, really fast here. Yes, what about a Mordorian troll? If you have a cave troll in your army and you have the medicine skill, what is it actually going to do for the troll? Because while the troll has a huge amount of HP, I actually have no idea how much trolls have, by the way, so don't quote me on this, but as far as I'm aware, they have I think upwards of 200 HP at least, I think. And so what I'm saying is, what if the medicine skill perk was a percentage of your HP? So in other words, 25% or more every single little you know, point that you get increases your medicine skill and increases that percentage by 1 ever more, right? So in other words, if you have I don't know, 300 medicine skill, then you're going to have 50% increased HP for your troops, that is. And I think that actually would make a huge difference to your overall future-proofing when it comes to unique mod troops. And I'm talking about cave trolls, of course, because cave trolls, if they have 200 HP or if they have 300 HP or something like that, then a percentage increase of HP, like 25%, 30%, 35%, whatever it is going to be so much more effective than a base value. You see, that's my main concern there. You know, I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess they don't really think about mods that much, but you know, it would be nice, and especially considering technically 25 base is well, 25 base value is the same pretty much as 25% if you have 100 HP. It's kind of the same thing. So I'm not sure why they wouldn't make it a percentage, but maybe it's more annoying. I don't know. In terms of programming or whatever, I have no idea about that, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Anyway, I'm going to actually just take these guys prisoner. I'm going to take them prisoner for a variety of reasons. The main reason is to actually keep them off the field, and the second reason is to make it so that maybe we can get some money, you know, we can get some money from them or something like that. That would be quite nice. So yeah, we basically lost no one there whatsoever, so that was really, really good. Not sure if I really care about the troops, to be honest. I don't think I do, because me having the troops here, I mean, it's not really going to do much, you know, in our garrison, and it's, well, it's just going to cost money, so I'm not a big fan of that. Alright, so what else do we have available here? Nothing much. Okay, 18,000 in experience if we wanted to do that, but no, I don't think so. Alright, let's go back to the town. And how are we doing, by the way, in terms of the War of the Ring? It feels to me like we're doing okay in our section of the world, but... yes... I'm not particularly too confident about what's going on in the greater parts of Middle-earth here. So yes, this is going to be kind of interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is probably gonna get rid of that, I guess. Yeah, do we have way too much food? Yeah, we have way too much food. Why am I buying food then? Yeah, we have way too much meat, actually, as you can see right there. Yeah, way too much. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna go like so, and then we should probably go and ransom these guys. I'm not gonna ransom the vassals, because as I said, I'm just gonna keep them with me for the moment. Funnily enough, I actually think I have the ability to keep them forever, so it may very well be the case that I will do that, but obviously it depends on if I run out of cash. Because there have been some ransoms that have come along that have absolutely saved me. I don't know whether you've noticed, but there were times where we were running out of cash and then a ransom would come in. Technically, you didn't see that because it was off screen, but, you know, a ransom would come in from somewhere. Maybe Thranduil has captured someone or something like that and put them in one of our fiefs. I have no idea how we even get a message like that, but yeah. Anyway, point is, we got that and it actually saved us a great deal. Anyway, let's have a look-see. Leadership. Do I want to actually increase my leadership even more? Uplifting Spirit would actually be quite useful, considering it does provide us with plus 10 party size, which is really, really good. Engineering skill, on the other hand, obviously we're going to be doing a huge amount of sieges and stuff like that. And while I personally don't care at all about the engineering perks, I think engineering perks are... I mean, no offense, but they are actually kind of just useless. Most of them don't really do much after, you know, skill level 100. As far as I can tell, at least. Obviously, you do get faster siege engine production and so on. But yeah, most of the time it's not really going to do much. I guess I will just do it. Should I? Or should I just do leadership? Because the thing is, if I can get... No, I'm never going to get to 275. Yeah, I've just realized that now. So basically me speccing into that is pretty much pointless. So I will actually put an additional point into engineering then. Because technically I might be able to get 7 in intelligence. If we get enough experience, I'm at 26 right now. If we get another 3 attribute points, which would be very, very... it's kind of wishful thinking at this point, because, you know, being level 26, it might not be possible. Yeah, might not be possible. I didn't even spend an additional point in endurance either, so technically it's not even us making that mistake in terms of character build. It's just literally having a little bit of an easier... Oh, he escaped? Wait a minute, how did he escape? Oh, we don't have scouting. Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad, my bad. Okay, yeah, no. I actually thought we had scouting, but we did not. Okay, well, that makes a big difference, doesn't it? Yeah, that makes a big difference. Okay, yeah, because if we had scouting, then we would have had this perk right here called Keen Sight. Yeah, minus 50% chance of prisoner lords escaping from your party. We also have mounted patrols from riding skill. And so technically, if we had both of those perks, they would never be able to escape us. And that would be fantastic. But unfortunately, they are going to escape quite dramatically at this point. They're probably going to be escaping quite often now, which is sad because we still have the minus 50% chance, but obviously 50% chance is 50% chance. It's just a flip of the coin, you know? You never know. So, yeah, this is going to be a problem. I feel like... Yeah, okay, as I thought. This is... this is almost exactly what I thought was going to happen. I thought to myself, I think I know what's going to happen here. They're going to immediately sally out. Yes, they're going to immediately sally out, and that is exactly what they did, which is very funny. Okay, so I'm actually going to see... Is there a rock around here somewhere? Because I'm feeling like we're going to need that. There is a rock here, but this is an extremely small one. Might be useful, though. Alright. We're going to do a little bit of something. So, oh, no, we might actually be able to use that. Maybe we can use it. I mean, the only problem with this rock is that it is a little bit low. It's a little bit low profile, and because it's low profile, it's not going to really protect us that much against archers, which is obviously one of the main problems, but yeah, you know, whatever. Anyway, let's just see what we can do here. Just going to put everyone into a square formation apart from these guys who are going to remain in a line formation. The cavalry can go around the side there as well. We can just make them go up there by the trees, and then we can maybe we can get our infantry out the front here. Wait a minute, are these guys just cavalry? Oh, no. No, they don't have only cavalry, but they have pretty much, yeah, that's going to be a big problem. It's going to be a big issue. But thankfully, the rock is making big strides for us right now. Okay, so I'm actually going to take these guys around here, and these fellows can go over there by the infantry. I'm not sure how this is really going to work, because these fellows, these skirmishers, are just fundamentally going to make this extremely painful. I'm gonna tell these guys to go on the other side. Even if we just go for like a side flank or something like that, that's gonna have to do. Because at the moment, we don't really have the time. I don't have any time. No time whatsoever. Okay. Oh dear. This is problematic. Yeah, this is very problematic. Tell them to charge. Tell them to charge. And we can tell these guys to come over here and try to attack the archers, I guess. I mean, this is not really going to work out too well, is it? No. Oh, dear. I have a bad feeling about this, friends. I have a very bad feeling about this. I feel like I should probably be retreating, to be honest. Yep. I should 100% be retreating from this. Oh, dear. Okay. Can we get away? Is it actually possible? Oh, dear. Yeah, we can actually get away from here. Okay, we're gonna be 33 soldiers. But yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of 33 soldiers. That is extremely painful, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. That's the reason why having these guys having a garrison of so many is making such a big difference to them. It's actually crazy. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to rethink what's happening here. Oh, this guy's actually trying to attack me. Oh, okay, I didn't even see that. That is hilarious. But yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to rethink our strategy, and we're gonna have to come back in here. Well, actually, maybe not. Maybe I'm gonna need to... now I'm actually unsure what I can even do here. I mean, the one thing I can do is just return here and just recruit people. Obviously, that's That's really nice. Having a town this close by is really, really good and actually helps us massively. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do here? They don't have any food for some reason. Why don't they have that much food? What's happening with this? Ah, okay. Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, they don't have any orchards. They don't have any orchards or anything like that. So we're actually going to get that going. 20 days it's going to take. Okay. And we do have... Right, okay, so basically the only thing I can think of right now is to go and take the various castles in the area. That is going to be the only thing I can really do. The garrison, unfortunately, because we just do not have enough troops, we are immediately going to see a sally out almost every single time. Now, what's funny about a sally out is that I think in general, if we had a little bit more population in our army, as in if we had like archers en masse or something like that, we probably would have an easier time. But well, maybe not. Maybe at the same time we wouldn't, because we're going to be up against a huge amount of cavalry. And cavalry are kind of hard for archers to deal with. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that's really going to go. But all I know for sure is that going back to this town with that many people in the garrison, I feel like is extremely unlikely. We're probably not going to be able to do that. We probably won't be able to do this one either. So it feels like we are... I'm not entirely sure. How were we able to do the sieges before? I guess the garrisons just weren't that large. That must be the case, right? They were just very, very small in comparison. So they were less inclined to sally out. Or I just need to get more party size. Alright, so what we're actually going to do is I'm going to buy a huge amount of sheep right here. I'm going to buy 344 sheep. Now, the main reason why I'm doing this is because I've noticed that our town is not recovering from the siege or something like that. I mean, they have a load in the town marketplace, so that's kind of a bit strange to me. I would have expected them to be completely fine after the fact, but they apparently are not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. There you go. We've basically executed all of them, and we now have meat. We have 808 meat, and we have loads of hides as well. So obviously I'm doing what I said in the earlier stages of the episode here, but I'm doing this for the sake of this town. So hopefully what we can do is give them all of this meat, give them all the hides as well, because I don't even need that. And there we have it. Okay, are we still over encumbered, by the way? Oh yeah, we still actually are over encumbered. That's actually kind of crazy. All right, let me see what I can do about that then. Let's just get rid of some more of that. And then we can sell one of these. There we go. All right, yeah. So I'm hopeful that that is going to make a somewhat of a difference. I'm actually not entirely sure why it is not, but oh dear. The trials and tribulations, eh? The trials and tribulations of, well, basically having no control whatsoever over the faction itself. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in due time. The fact is, there's only 2 other vassals. There's only 2 other vassals in this particular faction. It's actually crazy. There's only Thranduil and Legolas, and I'm not entirely sure if they're going to be staying alive that much more, because I mean, yeah, we're going to have some issues, I guess. We're going to have some issues with them potentially not being able to carry their weight, which would be a problem. Okay, so we actually had a bit of a situation on our hands here. I just literally went over to one of the other castles and tried to besiege it. I did manage to take it. Obviously, very, very easy to, get them starved out and stuff like that. But we had a situation at Mistrand where there were people trying to besiege it, and they failed. They ran out of food. They literally ran out of food, as you can see right here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how simple this is for us to now clean up the situation. And funny enough, we only had militia in here, but they delayed for such a long amount of time that we now have a bunch of people just running away from us here. They have, well, they have very, very fast vassals, unfortunately. We might be able to take less, maybe not. I was going to say, we might be able to take that. No, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. I would love to be able to... Oh yeah, by the way, Thranduil and Legolas got themselves taken prisoner. Yes. They got themselves taken prisoner, which is pretty bad. Now, the thing is, where do we want to go? I think we could probably take this. I don't think we can take Lest, because what's going to happen is the garrison will come out, and all of the vassals that are there will also make things very, very difficult for us. So, ideally, I'm just going to leave that. There is... yeah. I mean, hopefully they're going to leave, and then they'll try to maybe take Mistrand again. If they try to take Mistrand again, then that's obviously good. Well, all intents and purposes, what I was trying to do is I was trying to wait until they had gone in and until they had taken some damage. And once they'd taken some damage, then we were going to go in and try to clean up. That was kind of the idea. But obviously, they failed to pretty much do anything. And yeah, that was very good. What? Are you serious right now? Rebels have... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can't see that, can I? No, I can't see that anymore. Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. How does that even happen? That's very surprising. That is extremely, extremely surprising. All I was doing was... Was I constructing anything there? I think I was constructing... was I constructing anything at all, actually, in Mistrand? I don't think so. If that's the case, then I have no idea how a rebellion would have happened. I think that we weren't... Did we? I think maybe we did. Maybe we did. If we did actually, start creating something, start constructing something, then it's highly unlikely that they would have rebelled. As far as I'm aware, we were only losing 2 loyalty per day, and that was obviously going... Well, hopefully that was going to be stabilized. I would have assumed that that would be stabilized sometime... pretty quickly afterwards, considering we have done a lot to try to stabilize the town itself. Obviously, no steward or anything like that, but well, should we say no governor, because I just cannot find a companion that actually has any, steward or engineering skill for some reason. But yeah, we are now in a pretty annoying spot. I'm not entirely sure how I guess we are going to take that back. I mean, there shouldn't be that many people there. Should be pretty easy. As you can see, we are now starting to make good money from our settlements, just because I have lowered the garrison cost, as in I've lowered the amount that I allow them to spend. Personally, I don't really mind that normally, but when it comes to this, where we actually have a bit of a problem maintaining our money situation, because there are just so few towns nearby. The map is absolutely huge, so it's very, very difficult to travel from point A to point B. Reason why in a previous episode I was actually talking about, well, I was talking about this in the Uruk series as far as I remember, but basically I was talking about how each race or each culture should have some form of speed boost so that they can get to places a little bit quicker. And yeah, that would obviously make a big, big difference in a number of different situations. Most notably, making sure that you get to a place before you run out of money. Or shall we say, having the AI actually get to a place before they run out of food or cohesion, because they're very much having problems with that. But yeah, otherwise, as you can see here, we have 5 days worth of food remaining in the garrison here, and then we should be able to go in. Technically, I should be able to go in right now and probably destroy these guys. Should I actually do that? Nurzak Castle? You know what? Okay, yeah. We're literally just going to put the trebuchet up right here. We're just going to put the trebuchets up, and we're just going to destroy all the siege engines, and then I'm just going to go straight on in. I'm literally just going to go straight on in. I personally feel like me doing the whole waiting thing and destroying the walls and stuff like... I mean, I'm going to destroy the walls. Let's just destroy the walls. Me doing the whole starvation thing is very good if the garrison has like 400 people, 500 people. That's obviously fantastic. But if the garrison only has about 200, I feel like we can probably do it without. But the question is, do we want to? Because as it stands, if I I don't know, if I starve them out, I'm basically making it a 0 casualty siege. But if we go in there with, you know, double the amount of defenders, it is very, very likely that we will see some casualties. So I guess it just comes down to personal preference. It's down to whether you want to try to reduce the risk that you're facing or not, in the case that this is right now. So yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I feel like I would probably go for the starvation, but I'm getting a bit fed up of having to do that, to be honest. I would very much appreciate additional options when sieging. Obviously, that's a base game issue. Like, I would love to be able to have some poison or some kind of subterfuge, some kind of crazy cool strategy that we could use to weaken the garrison in some way or another. But obviously, you know, base game stuff, you know, it needs to be implemented in the base game. Maybe a mod could do it. I think Forbury already does stuff like that. Maybe, I'm not sure if it does that in siege mechanics or whatever. Maybe there is a mod out there that actually does do it. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, we will just slay as many of these opponents as we can, and we'll hopefully be okay to do that. I mean, you can see here, this guy obviously has a very, very large shield. And there we go, he's dead now. That's good. Okay, so thankfully, these guys don't seem to be particularly good when it comes to... Whoa, yeah. When it comes to... I see. That's why I took so much damage. They don't seem to be that good when it comes to infantry, so I'm actually very, very pleased about that, because it means so much more when we're able to achieve victory in those really, really difficult spots. Obviously, we did have to get out of, well, a sally-out situation. Did I charge my people, by the way? I think I did. Yeah, but when we had the sally-out, very, very difficult to win that battle with pure infantry and with a very minor amount of cavalry. So I think if we get to, I think Clan Tier 5, yes, I think Clan Tier 5 is going to be the time where we start sort of transitioning away from a composition of purely infantry, and we start to go a little bit more leaning on the archer side of things. I'm not going to do like a major shift or anything like that. We're just going to have a handful of archers. I'm talking about handful as in, like, you know, maybe 20, 30 archers in the grand overall composition. And I think that should probably make a lot of difference in our ability to deal with horse archers. And generally with ranged characters as well. Because instead of having all these infantry running after these horse archers the entire battle, basically, we're going to have archers that will be hopefully able to snipe the horse archers and just completely, well, destroy them, you know. That would be probably one of the best things we could do, but obviously it's just very much down to the fact that, can these archers actually kill the horse archers? I don't know. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. You know, so I don't know. I guess it depends on a variety of factors. You know, it depends on if the enemy's cavalry is assaulting our archers. It depends on if there's some environmental interference, like, for example, trees or cliff sides or hills or anything like that. So that would probably make a little bit of a problem. You know, a little bit of a problem here and there. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just thought I would just relax there for a second, just waiting and seeing what the enemy is going to decide to do, because it feels to me like we are basically done here. I can probably just speed through, and there it is. That is victory for us. There we go. And, oh, we actually did it before anyone managed to escape. Very nice indeed. Look at that. 104 renown. Very good. All right, that's exactly what we like to see. And massive amounts of experience, of course, as well. That's exactly how we've been leveling our Sylvan levies here. Very, very nice. Okay, so I'm not going to be taking any prisoners, even though they are going to be selling for quite a decent amount of cash. And it's not like I don't need the cash, but I don't really want to be taking these guys all the way over to the town and then me having to besiege the town again, because obviously the rebellion has now happened for some reason. As I say, I'm not entirely sure what even happened there, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with this as well. Thranduil, I think, is still... Is he still actually a prisoner? I'm not entirely sure if that is the case. Let me see. Thranduil. Thranduil, where are you? Okay, he was last seen at Mount Gundabad. Okay, he's been taken prisoner by Winrick of the Umbar. Of the Umbar? Really? Of the Umbar? Okay, that's actually kind of crazy. Right. Okay, so in other words, Legolas is still a prisoner too? Yes, as far as I'm aware, yes, last seen at Mount Gundabad. Wait a minute, is Mount Gundabad still not taken? What? Are you joking? The Umbar... What? Are you serious right now? Umbar decided to come all the way up here. Wait a minute. Who are the Umbar anyway? Because as far as I'm aware, aren't they pirates? Aren't they pirates from all the way down here? No, that's Harad, obviously. Okay, what about the... Yeah, there's Umbar. Are you serious? There's actually a vassal that has traveled all the way from the desert here, like going all the way through Isengard, Mordor territory, and then going through Lothlorien territory, going through Mirkwood, and then eventually getting to Mount Gundabad. Who in their right mind decided to do that? That has to be absolutely... that is some crazy stuff right there. I'm going to actually have a look at Mr. Winrick. There he is. Ah, he's from the... okay, never mind. He's from the Bardings. He's from the Bardings. So technically, he is... isn't he technically from Dunlendings then? Isn't he technically from there? Well, I'm actually not entirely sure, but yeah. You can see here that obviously if he were from the Dunlendings, it's not that far away. It's still pretty far, and certainly something that you wouldn't want to necessarily have. But yeah, as you can see here, the forces of evil are doing a very, very good job. They've already taken Helm's Deep. As you see there, the Isengardians have taken that. And then we obviously have Edoras, where Dol Guldur has obviously taken that, and Edoras has fallen before them. And I'm pretty sure that Rohan is going to be next. They are definitely looking to be extremely, extremely weak right now. And I'm actually not entirely sure how the forces of good can win this, to be honest. I don't know. It feels very, very unlikely that they're going to be able to do anything at this point. But who knows? Maybe there's going to be some amazing event where a certain old man comes out of nowhere and tries to, use some very advanced spell that will help us. But yeah, I'm kind of doubting that at the moment. Okay, so should I actually give this to Thranduil, or should I give this to myself? Because at the moment I should probably just give it to myself, shouldn't I? I don't really want him to travel all the way down here, you see. That's the main problem. But the problem with him as well is that he's just... I mean, we just generally don't have any vassals. That's the main problem. Okay, so as you see here, what's the loyalty? Well, the loyalty is obviously at 95 at the moment because the rebels own it. But... yeah, okay, fine. We're going to have to literally go straight in here. That's literally what we're going to do. We're just going to have to go straight in here. I am absolutely speechless as to why this went into rebellion. This is extremely, extremely unlikely because we have forgiveness of debts. We have another thing that actually increases our loyalty as well in our policies. And I personally believe that that would have or should have been enough to withstand any kind of rebellion talk, but apparently not. So we're going to have to do this again. I will wait until my trebuchets are up because I want to destroy the enemy's catapults because I always... well, for some reason, suffer a number of casualties to that. Oh, how the turns have tabled. Oh, look at this. Winrick of the Umbar has now been taken prisoner by Thranduil. So he's gotten his revenge, which is actually hilarious. And we, obviously, now ended up losing a bunch of people to siege bombardment casualties because one of my trebuchets actually did get destroyed, surprisingly enough. Anyway, let's go into Mistrand. This is going to be very, very harsh, in my opinion. I feel like we're going to have a problem here. I don't know whether we're going to be able to even do this. This is, once again, a repeat, or shall we say, a siege that we've seen before, and I don't really like showing those kinds of things, but I felt like it was kind of important considering we are having to deal with a rebellion. And after the rebellion is crushed, if we can indeed crush them, because it may very well be the case that maybe they're going to be able to fight us off. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. It doesn't seem like it, to be honest. No. No. It doesn't seem like it. I feel like we're probably going to have a pretty easy time of things here. And is it just me, or do I feel really tall? I feel very, very tall. I feel much taller than these fellows that we're fighting right now. Okay, well, whatever the case. Yes, here we go. Nice. Try to kill as many of them as possible. And we need to kill this guy. There we go. Okay, yeah. So, pretty much, seems like very limited amounts of defenders. And I'm actually quite surprised that we lost Mistran to something like this in comparison to losing it to an enemy siege. I thought we were going to lose it to an enemy siege. I thought that was going to be the main thing that would have happened. But no, we actually lost it to something that was basically even worse. To be honest, I felt like that was really, really annoying to lose it to something like that. Thankfully, these guys are just gonna kind of let me slaughter them right now, so I shouldn't worry about this too much. I am trying to get freed up from the bottleneck there, just so we can do as much damage as possible. They are literally just standing there, letting me do this, and that is all she wrote. There we go. That was easy enough, wasn't it? Okay, now let's hope that no more people spawn on top here. I'm not entirely sure if they do that. I've always said that I feel like more realistic spawning in these sieges would be really, really cool. I'm not talking about the mod here. I'm talking about base game spawning locations, because every single time you go into a fief and they're letting you go into the streets and stuff like that, like we're here, like we're doing now. It's always kind of weird how the enemy just spawns out of nowhere, you know what I mean? I feel like it would be very, very cool if they would spawn in just a building or an alleyway or something like that you can't actually see, so that it's a little bit more realistic instead of them just appearing out of thin air. But I guess, who knows, maybe they could be magicians of some kind. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, whatever the case, this is very, very simple, as you see here. They just literally have tribesmen, so we shouldn't have too much to worry about for the ending. Alright, so 38 of them did decide to retreat there, and, we obviously managed to crush the rebellion very, very effectively. And we are indeed going to send these guys in here. We're going to lose one, but that's okay. And we are just going to take these prisoners to sell. There we go. Alright, so I should probably try to recruit some people immediately here. Let's actually see. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, let's try and get those guys as soon as possible, but no, of course not. Okay, 2,800, not really very good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look. What is actually causing the problem here? Debasement of the currency. See, this is exactly the point. Okay, I had no idea that he actually had done this. And you can see here, this is exactly the reason why I personally feel like the AI is so bad when it comes to dealing with policies and instituting them, because some of these are absolutely fine, right? Some of these are absolutely fine. Like, for example, he instituted war tax, which I don't really see that. Why does he need this? I don't know. Why does he need this? He doesn't need this, but it's okay. If he wants to do that, then that's obviously up to him. But debasement of the currency is fundamentally anti-conqueror, as in you're literally making it harder for yourself to maintain control over these towns just purely because you want 100 dinars per town. That's nothing. That's literally nothing. I'm literally going to try and abolish this straight away. There we go. He really does not like that, but I really don't care, because literally this is one of the worst policies in the entire game, in my opinion. 100 dinars per town is nothing. That is peanuts. That is literally, well, as I said, there's nothing more that I can say. It's literally just nothing. Anyway, so settlement issues, security, loyalty drift. I don't think we really need to worry about any of those things, at least at the moment. Hopefully we're going to get ownership over the town again. He might not give it to me this time. No, it seems like he is actually wanting to give it to me. That's good. Let's try to get some relation back with him a little bit. Just because we did lose some just now. And there we have it. Okay, so we now have it once again in our control. So why was the problem? We actually did get orchards, yes. We did get orchards built. Fairgrounds is not built at all, which I think is one of the main problems we're having right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell that to focus on this. 29 days. That is not good enough, just so you know. That is not good enough. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put some people in the garrison here, even though I'm not a big fan of doing that generally, because I feel like I really need to have as many people in my army as possible. I'm going to stick around here for a little bit of time, and we're just going to be placing people in the garrison over and over again from the recruitment screen. So whenever this refreshes, I'm just going to go, you know, rinse and repeating all over the place doing that, and hopefully that's going to help us a pretty big deal. So apart from that, well, I can only hope that Thranduil and Legolas are actually going to start doing something. Maybe they're going to start fighting against Dol Guldur or something like that. I actually don't know whether they will. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.